Alrighty, so I have been running the iFlight Twin G mini stack F7 mini in this this here QAVR, and I smoked the ESC. I've been running it for about 3 months or so on 5S, and the ESC just smoked on me out of the blue. Luckily, I crashed into a tree and didn't end up in the lake. So I got lucky there. The flight controller is still working, but the ESC died a shameful death. Anyway, so I am going to put this here Mamba stack. This is the 405 Pro, DJI ready. 30 by 30 full-sized stack, and slap it in that QAVR. Because the F7, I have the F722 mini stack, Pro mini stack, and another quad, the DJI ready one, and I highly recommend that stack. It has been performing absolutely freaking fantastically, and these, I have heard nothing but good things about these Mamba stacks, and they really do a great job with giving you everything you need to install these bad boys. They give you the cards that have all the pinouts on them for both the flight controller and the ESCs, which is freaking cool. They give you all the little mounting hardware. They give you a plethora of the little rubber grommets and silicone washers and everything you could possibly need to put this thing in. Of course, your XT60, some more spare grommets, but I'm not 100% sure why they give you these extra grommets. The F7, the mini stack was super cool because it came with like a little mounting plate that's screwed to the bottom of the quad. It's very, these electronics are very well thought out in my opinion. So let's get that bad boy out of the box. We don't need that. We'll kind of keep everything together here until we need it. Get all our little silicone washers in here, and then we will get, it should be a super easy swap because, well, I had the mini in here, so I'm gonna have to change out the mounting screws here, but that'll only take a second, and just unsolder the crossfire from there and plug the DJI in, and we're good to go. I think the F7s are nice, having all the spare UARTs and a little bit more processing power, but when we're using this DJI unit, we don't need a whole lot of UARTs and stuff like that, right? I mean, like, it kind of bums me out to use such an awesome stack in just a little freestyle quad like this, because I don't know, it's just my OCD. We're gonna have all those UARTs and pinouts and stuff like that that we're not even going to use. So I don't know, it kind of bugs me. I like a super simplistic flight controller for this that doesn't have, because you can't even, you know, like use the OSD or whatever. One other thing I want to point out that is super cool about these Mamba stacks, and I believe the ESCs do it too. Maybe, I know some of them do, but anyway, as you can see right here, these are little indication LEDs that will tell you what's going on with everything, with, you know, if your regulator blows out or what's going on with the ESC or whatever. It has little LED codes, so that is super freaking cool. So all right, let's I guess first things first, let's get all this crap out of the way for now. Let me zoom back out a fuzz here so you guys can see better what's going on. Keep all this together. I don't even need the extra plug because I already have the the plug installed on here. So like I said, this should be a super easy swap. We're just gonna stick this bad boy on there and freaking go to town. So get all this crap out of the way. I'm gonna need these here screws. I think these are gonna be long enough. And we will use those. As you guys know, I normally use these plastic screws, but because of the way the QAVR is designed, if you use the 30x30 stack, it goes through the arm. So I'm gonna have to use the metal screws on this guy so that we're holding the arm in place. Yeah, secured and proper and stuff like that. The plastic screw will not work in that application. So first things first, we get rid of these things. And now we'll have to swap out these middle screws for some taller stack screws to get our ESC mounted in there. So let's do that. Okay, now I do believe, because we're going all the way through the arms and everything on this, I don't think these screws that, maybe they are, I don't know. Let's see if these screws that Diatone gave us for mounting are gonna be long enough. So we'll just run one in there real quick and see if we can. That's going to be the back. See if everything's going to fit on there all hunky-dory. These things out of there. Comes with even more mounting screws holding the stack together. When you get it, that's the front. Yeah, those are not going to be long enough, unfortunately. Oh, bet you I know what these little blue grommets are for. They're to go in this ESC, right? They fit in there. That's the bottom. Here's a little trick to getting these grommets in these little holes. Stick one little corner in there, then take your a blunt instrument, not something sharp, and just work it through the hole. But I don't think these are meant for that. Those seem like M3 holes. You know what? Let's take a look. Let's put an M3 screw in there. Yeah, see, those are tight on the M3. There's no room for no rubber grommet. Not happening. What they usually, they give you these so if you're gonna mount like a 20x20 standard VTX, analog VTX on the back or something like that, you have extra things to do it with, which is pretty cool. So these are not going to be long enough. To do what we need to do. Let's see if I got some longer ones somewhere. This one here is a fuzz bit longer. That one is not. That's a longer one. They're not that much longer though. I don't think they're gonna be long enough. But maybe. Just maybe. Let me look in my trusty drawer over here. These are 18 millimeter. I believe these are the longest M3s I have. Yes, indeed they are. So let's see. They aren't much longer than those though, are they? Maybe enough. Maybe, baby. Because we need a little bit of room on the bottom so the ESC isn't touching. The little capture nuts that are the little press capture nuts that are going through the frame. Let's put 2 of them on there this time. Clear all this junk out of the way. Get rid of this. I'm just going to cut these off for now. No point in desoldering them at the moment. Got plenty of wire. No worries there. I can desolder that crap later. Knock a bunch of stuff over on the bench. Make a bunch of noise. Fumble fart around. Alright, so I think like we use these blue grommets right here to go on the bottom to make sure that that stack, or that ESC rather, clears the press nuts that are in there. We don't short anything out. Just put 2 of them on there for now so we can eyeball this up and see if it will even go on there in a reasonable fashion. Slide that down. Looks like this, this has some little extra silicones on the bottom that we're going to get rid of. Give us a little more room. All we got to do is be able to get a couple threads. Oh yeah. Looks like we're golden right there. Let's inspect in between there. Make sure nothing is touching anything. I think we're good. I might even add these 2 boards. Probably can't see in there, but those 2 boards are a little tight for my comfort. It doesn't really look like anything's touching in there. The only thing that's close is these little bootloader buttons over here. There's 2 bootloader buttons on this board. I'm gonna have to inspect and see what that is. But I don't know. I think one's actually a reset button. I remember reading if you happen to break the board or something like that. I'll have to check that out, or you guys can check it out and see the deal with that is. I usually don't use the bootloader buttons. I just go into the CLI, type in BL, enter, and it goes into DFU mode, which is one of the cool things about the modern stuff. I guess we're gonna roll with that. I got room to add the little extra silicone grommets on there if need be. We can do that later. For now, get these last 2 scrooges in there. They are just long enough we got? Darn lucky. In case you guys are wondering about this screwdriver, this is the ES121 that is made by the same people that make the TS100 soldering iron that we all love for out in the field. We know what a fantastic little piece of equipment that is. And this little screwdriver has been the same thing. I've had it for several years without fail. You can even use it to grab the little knurl down here and use it just like a regular little screwdriver and torque your stuff down. Boom. That is a fantastic little tool. Save a buttload of time and a lot of forearm cramping. Alright, so a couple more little blue grommets. See there? They give you the spare things in case you need them. They thought of everything with these little Mamba stack kits. Like I said, I am super impressed with the, and here is even the pinout for it. I am super impressed. 1, 2, 3, 4, so it goes on that way. With that F722 mini. And we're going to take these out of the side over here. Are they going to be long enough? I believe so. My sponge is a little dry. Hear that beep? That's that digital. That's that quick digital soldering iron. Soldering. First things first, we're going to skin these back just a wee bit more. Actually, you know what? I got an XT60 right here. It ain't the prettiest, but it'll dang sure work and save us some time with monkeying with this. Soldering all that together. Might as well use that bad boy. And this came off of a QA VR build, so it's probably exactly the right length we need. So, kind of want to make these come out of the top. So what we're going to do here, by the way, this ESC, if something happens to your plug, it does have solder points on it. So what I like to do with this is kind of stand these up in the air when they have these little swoopers in there like that. We're going to put some paste on here. This should be fairly easy. Dang, I got plenty of paste on there. I always use a little paste, but that's a little ridiculous. We're just going to set these in these slots. I know you should tin the wires and do all that crazy stuff. When you have these slots, you can usually get it to work just like so. Especially with this kick-ass freaking 72 watt super badass soldering iron and plenty of paste. Oh, slid out of there. I had a feeling that was going to happen. Let me get this stuck back in there a little better. There we go. Melt this in there. Let it cool for a second, and then we will inspect our work. Make sure we didn't cross anything up. Looks like we're golden. I like to take the tip of my trusty tweezers and run in between those little seams just to make sure there's nothing stray. Crossing it up in there. Looks like we're good. Suck off the blue tack, and she is good to go. Look at that. Boom. So now, where did I stick that frame? Here it is. We'll get to these cards later, when we need to put on the crossfire. Because all we got to do now, slide this bad boy down on there and solder on our motors. Actually, instead of chasing this around inside of there, I'm going to go ahead and tin up these pads outside of the frame, because I can do it a lot faster and easier than having to go around the standoffs. And we'll kind of make sure that way that we don't touch the soldering iron to any off-target wires and melt the casing on them or anything like that. So let's do this real quick here.
Unfortunately for me, we have nothing but rain going on for the next few days. So, I'm building that flying. Kinda sucks, but it is what it is. At least I get to make some cool video for you guys. Show you guys this kick-ass Mamba stack.
There's that. One thing I noticed here is that solder is running pretty freely through those holes in those pads. So keep an eye on that. As you can see, we got a drip on the other side of that one. We don't want that going astray and ending up on a touching the carbon or something and giving us trouble down the road. So what we'll do here, once we get this on, is we'll tin the motors up, wires up a little heavier than I normally would, so that get this thing placed properly. My homemade Immortal T. So we'll tin the motor wires up a little bit extra so we can get a nice bead on those ESC joints. If you find these things to be a little bit tight, you can take a little rat tail and file some of this material out. It won't hurt anything. Just don't go crazy so you get into the traces. Some of the ones that don't have the metal rings on them are super easy to file out because these boards are just like fiberglass, you know, layers of fiberglass. Get her lined up. See, even that little bit of, just that little bit of rubbing with the rat tail made it go on much easier. All right. Move things out of the way. So now we got our motor wires. That will slam on here real quick. Now we're just about done with the swap already. All we got to do is plug in the DJI unit and solder on the crossfire and go configure everything on the corn Peter. We're done. Come here, you. What in the world? Yeah, see, that solder is running through those holes really quickly. To the other side of the CSC. The perforated pads are good because it really holds solid. We want to be really careful with stuff dripping through on the other side and going where we don't want it to. There is a drip on this side, but I think it's okay. Doesn't look like it's touching anything. I don't know if you guys can see in there, but there's a big drip that went right through those holes. So keep an eye on that when using this ESC. BL Heli 32, I believe it's a 50 amp. So we're going to try to get a better shot at this one and get in and out quicker. Normally I like to melt the solder on the little pads first and then stick the wire in there to get a nice neat solder bead. But for this one we're going to have to do it like from wire down and do it quickly so that all the solder doesn't go through to the other side and create problems. This is what it is. Yeah, that worked out a lot better. Except, you see what my dumbass just did right there? I soldered two freaking motor wires onto the same ESC pad. It won't hurt anything because they're three-phase wires. It's a three-phase motor, but it definitely will not work. Definitely won't spin. Yep, that's the key to these bad boys right here. Get in and out quickly. Boom. So there's that. You guys don't need to watch me solder up the rest of these wires. So we will come back in a minute and carry on. Okay, so there we go with all the motors soldered up to the ESC, all nice and neat like. We'll get the light in a little better position. You guys can see that. I don't know. So now what we have to do, all we have, I also soldered up the capacitor we put in the nose up here. One of the things I like to do is I'll save the wires, the end wires, when I trim the motor wires, and I use those on the capacitor. Just pay attention to your positive and negative. That way all the wires are the same size through the whole little system. I don't know if that makes a difference scientifically, but it does in my brain to have all those, in my OCD brain, having all those wires the same size just seems to be the thing. Alright, so all we really have left to do, because the Vista plugs right in, is solder up our crossfire. That's one of the reasons I don't like, like I said earlier, this Mamba stack has been amazing as far as the F722 Mini that I have been running, and anybody else that has been using it, haven't heard any bad reports about it. So, but the thing that bugs me is, like, we got a million things we're not going to use. The only thing we're going to solder to this is the crossfire, and we're freaking done. So, let's figure out. That's the front of the board. Let's get our little card out and figure out where we are going to put this crossfire. So you guys probably can't see this card too well, but maybe you can screenshot it and blow it up. On the back of the board right here, there is there's a ground, 5 volt, TX, RX. So that is what we're going to be using. And it is, let me see here. According to this diagram, it will be TX and RX 4. So that is what we're... You'll have to excuse the background noise. My wife is crunching all kinds of plastic out there all of a sudden. I don't know what she's unwrapping or what she's doing. And what is the RX2? So 2 is going to be our Vista. We'll set the MSP port for 2 and the crossfire port for 4 when we get into beta flight to tune it. Pretty simple deal. So kind of unleash the crossfire here so we can solder it on. Guess we'll get this off and get a new piece of double-sided tape to mount it. Once we figure out the position it needs to be in. Let me get this sorted out in my head here. Go ahead and turn our soldering iron on. So we got ground, then 5 volt. Boom, soldering iron's ready. If we're looking at it, how is it? This way. Ground is on the outside, and the 5 volt is the square one. Usually these things line up with the crossfire. So this is going to be the top. Wait, no. This is the top going this way. So I want to solder it to the bottom. So we're going ground on the outside, then 5 volt, then TX, then RX. Okay. Okay. I think I got it. Strip our little wires off here. Only need a teeny little bit of wire sticking out for these little guys. Okay, ground then 5 volt. Right? Isn't that what I said? Tune up these wires. Give them a little twisty poo. So we don't have any hairs touching their neighbors, violating their personal space. Yep, I'm soldering right over the top of this board. I have that much confidence. I'm not going to drip crap on it. Got those. So we're going to kind of stick this on a standoff just a little bit to hold her still. Get down there. Hold still. Come in from the side over here. Oh, I got my light in the way, sorry. This is what I do here. You guys can see I have a magnifying glass in the middle of my halo light. And that's how I can see all this little tiny stuff and give you guys a good view of what's going on. So there's that. Little tidbits. Little tidbits of stuff. Boom. Where's our little pinchers? Ground first. Kind of doing this backwards. Ground. 5-volt. Now I gotta remember which one's TX and RX. T2, the white one is gonna go to TX, which is next in line. So white, then yeller. And I just mated those two pads together. Ooh. One clean little swipe with the tip, and they separated out. That was pretty slick, I must say. I must say. This here one is a wee bit long. Oh, wee bit on the long side. So we're going to cut her down a little, because we don't want that extra wire touching something it's not supposed to unexpectedly. We're like, what the hell is wrong with my quad? And we'll never freaking figure it out in a gazillion years. That that positive and ground is a little too tight for my liking. So we are going to redo that because they are very close together. They may even be touching. And we can't have that. So we're going to unsolder these and swipe away some of the solder that's there. Wipe the tip and go back in. And then let's give her a nice close look and make sure. Said I like to double check with, yep, we got clearance in there. I like to double check with this little fine tip. Run them in between there. And make sure, but we are golden. So now, let's plug this ESC in. I have to scooch it up a little bit. Make sure she's all the way in there. Jalapeno. Push her back down. Plug in the old Vista. And slide our flight controller on. Like so. I think we are ready for the moment of truth. The first plug in and make sure everything works. No fire. Boom, we're golden. See all the little indicator lights over there? Isn't that cool? That means everything's working. The 5 volt, the 3 volt, the VCC, the top one, I'm not sure what it is. But we're golden. Everything is working. The top one says, maybe it's the OCD. OSD, I mean. OCD. FCO or something it says on there. Not sure what that means. It doesn't say. Anyway, figure that out later. Whatever it is, the light's working and it's flight controller operation, I bet it stands for. Because it's got the blinking blue light like most flight controllers do when they work. So now, what we got to do is get a little zippy tie around our components here. Put our nuts, these nuts, on top of that. And get our lid up on here. And we will have one refurbished, ready to go quad. The next thing we do is just fly the absolute shit out of it. I like to fly the shit out of my quads for, I don't know, I'm not exactly sure exactly how long, but until I feel that they're trustworthy, I take them to my general little park that you guys see me fly in. I fly nearly every day if it's not raining. So I will take this quad to that little park and fly the shit out of it until I'm confident that it's good to go before I will take it anywhere sketchy and like dive a building or into some bandos or something, or fly it somewhere where it can't be retrieved if it goes down, like over water or some ancient spiritual forest. I've never flown over an ancient spiritual forest as far as I know, but I might. So I want to make sure that I'm good to go. I want to fly around some giant temple, and I don't want to crash into the Buddha and anger the gods. You know. So I will not take a fresh build out and do anything on the sketch with said build. I should have actually double checked in beta flight to make sure I have the TX and RX correct on the Crossfire before I bolt all this stuff down. My soldering iron just went to sleep. It can go to sleep because I don't need it anymore. That was super easy. Get a little piece of stuff here. A little piece of double-sided stick tight. Put underneath the Crossfire receiver. And then we are basically done with this build and ready to clean up this bench. Because I can't stand a messy bench. Put those cards in the back in that little box there. This little heathen over yonder. Little flight controller over here in the flight controller scrap pile. I guess you guys don't want to watch me clean up though, huh? So let's get this stuck on there. Come here. Come here. God. Dang, I need a new chair. This freaking chair is so squeaky. So in the front of this QAVR, there's holes right there. So I don't want to put that over the hole because I want to run my zippy tie in that hole. So we need to scooch it over a little bit. So the hole's exposed a wee bit there. And then we're going to take our zippy tie. Zippy tie, yay! I want to put the knot, the clicker inside of the cage here so it doesn't get torn off on something. Squeeze that through there, poke that one back through there, and all we're gonna do is just snug this down a wee little bit. We're not gonna cinch it down. You don't ever want to cinch down your crossfire with a zippy tie because you can knock the little components off it pretty easily by doing that. If you smash that tiny little board, I mean, the things are freaking microscopic. You just want it on there enough so everything's gathered together so that it doesn't come flopping out into the propellers and get chopped up. That's all. No biggie. Just like so. Nice and easy. Clip that off. We're golden. And then what I do back here is I'll double this around after we get this thing plugged in to Betaflight. I'm not going to zip the lid up on it right now. And then in the back of the QAVR we have these slots right here. I wrap some double-sided sticky tape around the little end of the antenna right there so it doesn't slide in and out on the zippy ties, and then I'll just zippy tie this. Zippy tie, yay! And throw the lid on, and we are good to go. And then we will just fly the shit out of it. So there is the Furby build. Next thing to do is to program it up and go fly the shit out of it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, there she is in all her glory, fully suited up. Now, I did not freshen up any of this. You know, these are used motors, same frame. All we did was swap out those electronics for the Mamba. So this should, I know how this quad flew before the iFlight ESC blew up. So it should be a really good testament to these electronics, because I'll really be able to give it a solid feel. So look forward. I will get out and fly this thing ASAP so you guys can get the info. Like I said, I had really good luck with the F722 Mini Pro DJI. So I'm very confident in this Mamba stack is going to fly amazing also. Let's get an all up end game weight on here. Battery and all, we're looking at 664.2. So that's about 10 grams or so over what I would normally like to fly. I like to shoot for like 650, but it's okay. Anything under 700 is usually okay for not breaking arms so easy and stuff like that. Right around 650 is really the feel I like for the throw and all that good stuff. I mean, I could trim this down. I could not use those big heavy screws in there. I could go with one battery strap. I have like button screws in the motors. I could lighten those up and bring it down to 650. But I'm just gonna let it ride. So stay tuned. Flight tuning crap, whatever, smashing, dashing video coming next. Boom, yeah. Okay, so we have to take a little break before we go out and rip because we have some friends over for lunch. Because wifey made homemade pho. So we are gonna make our pho Show us your pho, wifey.
It's the broth.
Pho broth.
Yeah.
Pho broth. Here's our friend. See our friend.
Hello.
And then we'll take her out for the quick pid tune maiden, see how she goes. Flying stuff. Stand by. We need a bigger scoop.
Yep, I'm buying.牛，这个不高汤是牛骨高汤。它是舀的，不是那种配的，应该够了吧？
啊，这样快。
啊，对对对。
嗯。
OK。这个啊，对，帮他拿过来，对，这里面还有牛尾呢。
哇，牛尾糖可以啊，你这个太强了。
牛尾不确定很已经烂了哈。李媛，你什么都吃的吧？
都行。
嗯，这些不够的料你们都自己加。哎，马海源，这两个是咱俩都喜欢的那个熟的豆芽，我炖熟了。
这是你们吃的那个越南那边的那种做
马
法。
海源的必吃。好，他都给自己招待过了。
吃饭。
吃饭，开灯喽。